These are my growing plants. These ones are going so well. These are all going to be daffodils, with some forget-me-nots or carnations or whatever. And I think I've got roses entwined in these plants. So, but I was kind of depressed because I kind of accidentally snapped one of the plants and was sort of looking like really tight at the edge of that pot there. And then another portion of a plant I just put in the water because it needs to re-stem because I snapped it. So I was a little bit sad about that. If I had left it alone, I would have kept a perfectly healthy plant growing at the bottom. So I sort of regret doing that. Obviously, you know, it's looking it's definitely not gonna do very well, this plant there. So but anyways, I've got this cover on my plant here because it's being affected by the sun. A lot of the plants are drooping, so I've got a bit of a cover on for a little while to protect it from the sun. And then I've got all these other plants. They're all doing okay. I'm getting some more seeds soon, so I'm going to be planting various plants in spaces in these pots as well as the new pot. So, and I'll probably need another tray, one of these trays as well. So, with a couple more pots because I'm getting 2 huge plants as well as part of my thing. So, but I can't stop looking at them because I know they're growing up and becoming very exciting. I just don't want to touch them anymore, so I'm just gonna leave them to grow. Pretty much because I don't want to snap them anymore. So I'm not gonna sort out their tangles. I'm gonna let them grow and see how they go. But these should all elongate in the future. Probably another month or 2. Maybe they'll start forming. They should grow into daffodils. So they're supposed to get the long leaves yet. But all these little sprouts are so weak. You know, I don't want to touch them because they're so weak, and you just pour water on them, they break. You know, you touch them, they snap. So I don't actually want to touch them until they're bigger, which is a bit of a problem because I can't like sort out the tangled web at all. So I'm just leaving them to grow because I don't want to snap off anymore because I think the one that was growing along the bottom was very strong, and so I'm just hoping it recovers. It's the one in that dish actually. These are just ones that were looking, I don't know which ones these were. They're looking weak, so I replanted them, and it's the change isn't any good. So I think they're happier. But anyways, they're probably not gonna pull through. This one is like just a weed really, and the other one's just like, yeah. And this soil, you know, all these little plants in here are just too, it's probably too wet, but yeah, nothing's really working. So I'm gonna be planting some heavier plants, some ones that will grow like this forget-me-not here, like really stem up and cover it, because I don't think it's very good for the smaller plants. But anyways, I'll just leave that to do whatever. And these ones are getting bigger and bigger, so eventually they'll turn into the real deal plant. And I don't know what I should do with those roses. There's a couple of roses I'm convinced down the bottom. I probably should have replanted them, but I'm just going to leave them to grow because roses grow bigger than these. But yeah, I'm just going to leave them to grow, and if they need replanting later on, I'll just replant the more adult version of it, or whatever. So I think if these all get tangled or whatever, they might need to be all replanted. But you know, if they can survive with each other side by side, I don't mind them being, you know, in the one thing. But I just want them to grow, this plant's fully formed, but everything else is just growing slowly. So, that's the thing about growing things from seed. You have to wait and wait and wait for that to get into adult or mature stage. So, but I just planted daffodils and I got these huge sprouts. So I assume all these are daffodils. I don't assume that they're any other kind of plant. And this is either I've got one or two different plants, but a lot of them should be daffodils. And I love daffodils, so I'm really happy that they're actually growing, but the thing is not everything else grew. I only got, a couple lyra plants, a couple carnation plants, and even then they're not that strong, so, but all these daffodils are just sprouted. So if you're ever growing something, I highly recommend daffodils and forget-me-not plants. These two are the strongest. Everything else is like, give or take, some of them are growing, some of them aren't, and it's sort of sad. So I sort of just have to ignore them. They've been well watered this week, so I'm going to leave them until next week. So I shouldn't be jumping up here too often. I just get interested to see how they're going, but if I left it for a while, it'd probably be good because I'm pretty much seeing just these sprouts growing up and up, and if I leave them alone, they'll just grow. They should grow. Okay, all these are pretty firm in their growth, so they shouldn't be dying at all. They seem to be very happy. If I wasn't getting a heap of other seeds, I would probably replant these daffodils and some more forget-me-nots, but I got some other plants coming, so in the future I'll have a variety of plants. But these ones and the forget-me-nots are doing the best. Carnations are doing okay, but so it should be exciting to see them grow. I kind of want to pull those roses out of the bottom, transfer them, but I don't want to risk destroying them or whatever, so I'm just going to leave them there. Leave them to grow amongst everything else until, it's evident that they need to be somewhere else. But, yeah, I just want them to grow. I'm just waiting for them to get bigger and bigger. Yeah, can't wait till they're actually a plant. Because I get sick of babysitting all these delicate sprouts. I kind of want them to be the firmer plant because it's more sturdy. And whereas these are just tiny little thin strands of sprout, and it's quite distressing because you don't want to touch them or go near them really, because they break very easily, and in 1 minute they're doing well, then the next minute they're not doing so well. So I think the beginning sprouts the most delicate stage, but eventually when they get into the bigger plants they should be all okay. So they're getting quite tall, these sprouts, so obviously they're growing well. Just waiting for them to get so big that they start growing into their real shape, rather than have this baby shape about them. So, but it should be forming. I should probably look again another week, and they'll probably be formed a bit more. These sprouts just keep growing taller and taller, but they're not necessarily growing thicker and thicker. I want them to be a thick, sturdy plant, and at the moment they're gathering height. They're not gathering in shape and thickness, so I want them to grow bigger and bigger, because that will make them the sturdy plant, the adult form of the plant. As you can see, I'm really happy that all these plants grew up, because I'm going to have like a bunch of plants in both these pots, so they're going to be all bunched together and growing really well, and it's going to be looks really cool. But I'm not sure about that rose plant. It looks like it needs to be transferred. So I'll just leave it to grow, see how it goes. I don't want to touch anything because they keep dying on me if I bother to transfer them like these things. This isn't going to pull through that plant. And so I sort of feel sorry for them. So, but this one did really well. This one did the miracle recovery after it was dying in one of these other pots, and I transferred it, and it's like growing so well. It's going to turn into a nice big plant. And I was like really upset because it looked like it was going to die on me. Like its leaves were turning weak, and it was definitely like dying. And then I realized, it's not cemented in the soil properly. So that's when I transferred it into this, and I put it in a deep ditch, and then secured it. And you just need it in the soil, and it grows. Whereas these plants, all these like tiny little plants, are a lot more picky. Some grow, some don't, and it's good when they grow, but not every one of them actually grows properly. Like even these over here, these Lyra plants over here, only one's doing well, the other one's dying off, and it was in a cluster, but only a couple made it. So I can't wait for these to wing off into daffodil shaped form, because it'll look so cool. And when they grow in the spring, when they grow their flowers, it'll be like amazing. Like I love daffodils. It's like one of the best plants, and these are like mini ones, so they're cute. They're a lot cuter than the other ones. They're just going to be small. I grew all these plants, when I was a teenager. Funny enough, because I think that I shopped online, when I was a teenager, and I was like, I'm just generally attracted to the same kind of plants over and over again. So it's really funny how like my tastes don't really change. So sometimes I have to really push myself and go, oh, that plant looks something like I would not choose, and I just buy it because that takes me out of my grain of thought of what I want to what is different. So, that breaks that instinct for you to choose one thing over another, and opens the door to something that you not directly attracted to, or you don't directly want. So I kind of do that. Sometimes I just say, I would choose that, but instead of doing what I normally would choose, I'm going to choose something I would never choose. And then, same with clothes. It's like, I could choose something that is something that I usually wear, or I go off and choose something that I wouldn't normally wear, and just sort of mixes things up a bit and makes things a bit more interesting. So I do that because I'm instinctively like I favor certain things over others, and then I have to sort of just say, okay, I wouldn't want that plant. Let's buy it because it's something I wouldn't necessarily want or think of getting for myself. So, but not these daffodils. These daffodils, they're exactly what I wanted. I wanted the little mini ones, but some of the other plants that I'm getting are not necessarily the plants that I would have generally chosen. Like I might have chosen like paper daisies over some exotic plant that just looks like it's been genetically modified to be amazing. So is an example. So I just choose the weird looking one with all the colors, and it looks like genetically modified and stuff. I'm just gonna grow it, So so a lot of plants from Asia look like they've been tinkered with genetically, and so you're like going, okay, well I don't really want that, but I much prefer something that looks more natural. So I bought like these colorful chrysanthemums, and a few other exotic plants that they've probably been totally like manufactured to be this amazing looking plant, but I usually go for like the ones that look more real. But even like miniature daffodils, I mean, you think, oh, what's making them so small? They may have been tinkered with or whatever. So, but anyway, but I'm glad these are all getting bigger. I can't wait for them to grow more and more, and I'm even getting still the young little sprouts coming out from the soil. So I probably have a few mingling of little seedlings which have come up, which are not necessarily the same plant. So this one's being protected from the sun because all my plants seem to be dying in it, and so I thought, oh, I may as well make a little bit of protection just in case it's the sun that's bothering the plant, even though it's supposed to be sun-friendly plant. But I'm just doing it for a few days and see how it goes. It's got enough light like coming through the top and even on the side here. It should have enough light, but I'm doing that on purpose. So, and I moved the other mini plant to over there because it doesn't like the direct sunlight. So, and I knew it didn't, but I was shading it with this plant, but I ended up moving it. I thought, oh, it doesn't seem to like that spot, so it doesn't seem to be dying over there. It seems to be like opening up again, so it's probably going to recover. But yeah, can't wait for these little plants to get big because they're going to look absolutely amazing. And then I have a amazing collection of plants. No, then I'll be babysitting the other plants that are coming in. A couple of them are coming in from like Hong Kong, and then a couple more are coming in from other states. So sort of breaking every postal rule you could get to stop the mingling of certain genes or whatever. But I think they should be like pretty normal plants and no COVID in them or anything. So yeah, so it should be awesome once I've got them all growing. Like one of them's this huge leafy plant with like really cool flowers, and another one's like a huge like chrysanthemum plant, and then another one's like this huge geranium or something that has like these huge like big flowers on them. So it's a dwarf geranium with huge flowers, and a couple of others are just like forget-me-nots and stuff that I'm going to chuck into a plant pot. Forget-me-nots and that exotic blue plant. And what else did I buy? Probably bought something else. Yep, I bought like 5 or 6 plants. Maybe 7. I just went on a spending spree because I could. And should be all okay in the future.